Runway entry procedure.
Check. Clear on the approach.
Single engine taxi I'm not a big fan of, unless you're late. If you're late it's okay, but you have to be careful, you know, not to add too much thrust and not to kind of stop, because if you stop and then to get moving, above all if you're heavy, you need to add a lot of thrust again. So it's like alcohol, you know, it's to do with moderation basically, but I'm not a big fan of it, I have to say. It's supposed to save a little bit of fuel, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't know if it does, to tell the truth.
Approaching 3-4. On runway 3-4.
Alright, let's go. Takeoff.
Check.
Thrust ref.
Thrust set. Check. $80 knots.
Hold.
Check.
V1.
Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up.
$400 feet.
Thrust rev VNAV speed. Thrust rev VNAV speed.
Check. Check.
Autopilot.
Check.
Yeah, off we go for almost 14 hours.
Climb.
I'm a little bit puzzled by the rate of climb there. I was going up to 4,000 feet per minute at this weight. I was like, not really sure. Off we go, rock and roll. No, Skoking 7700, no, it's not happened. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
So we are good 42, yeah, it's true. Flaps 1. Flaps 1. Flaps 1. Flaps 1. Flaps 1. Flaps up. Yeah, he's deaf. He's not answering. Alright, we'll go speed intervention. 270 knots. You can see the amber band there coming away, but this is not realistic as well. After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete.
Yeah, this is not realistic because on the PFD there, the amber band will be way closer than it is here. So anyway, that doesn't matter. But off we go, boys and girls. Passing 8,000 feet, climbing to level 300. It's a little bit sleepy, you know. He's all jet lagged, you know. Being in Australia, poor Air4 is all jet lagged. Thank you for the follow, Bolsonbar 5. Transition altitude, altimeter standard.
Standard set. Flight level 100.
Well, he's reacting there. I don't know what happened with the flaps. It's like I thought I was on mute, but I was not on mute. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Now we can close speed intervention. Speed intervention cancelled, and accelerate to 320 knots. Oh no, it's no good sign. PHBGR, Captain. No good sign, poor F4 is sleeping. Oh, hold on, there's nobody there. There's nobody here either, to tell the truth. Oh, good God. Oh man, 11,000 feet and there's already 50 knots of wind. Can you believe that? Let's have a look at the ETA. 9:33Z. Okay, but everybody can have a good night's sleep and then come back to the stream later on. Well, not straight away though, because I'm gonna be here for maybe an hour and a half, and then yeah, we'll go away and come back tomorrow. Yeah, the flight is not long enough. You need a bit of headwind, exactly. I think, as I said earlier on, I think the flight plan was showing like the top of climb wind being 131 knots from the west. So, yeah, great. But I think that later on we should pick up a bit of headwind as we get towards Indonesia. Normally, as you kind of get close to the equator, then in the summer the wind at like higher levels kind of become easterly, It's just here because we are in the southern hemisphere with the jet stream. But as you get closer to the equator, then the wind kind of changes to a easterly direction, and then we should keep that kind of tailwind all the way pretty much to destinations. That'll be good. It's just the initial bit over Australia where obviously it's winter and you get that wind. Right, I think we passed the worst of the weather. I hope these engines are going to work well for 14 hours. See the stars, the moon. I think there's a bit of a glow, so the day is slowly breaking. Seatbelt sign auto.
Seatbelt signs auto.
Good man. Mega LT, that's a good question. Yeah, accept, cancel, and reject. That's for yeah, ATC message or like CPDLC. So whenever you've got or data link like messages, you can accept, cancel, or reject. You've got the same prompts like appearing on the screen, and you can with the cursor, you can bring the cursor to the button and click as well. But this is obviously quicker, because obviously you don't have to go into the cursor there and bring the cursor to the right place down here. All this stuff is not simulated here in the simulator, of course. But yeah, in real it's faster to just press the buttons up here. Daffies, hello. Turknega, yeah, I've flown into Istanbul. Yeah, I know Istanbul. It's a big airport, very busy. Very, very busy Istanbul. Yeah. Wow, 16 tons of fuel on arrival? Really? There's so much wind that the computer actually works out that staying at a low level is better than to climb to 300 already. What I'm gonna do maybe is that I'm gonna stop at 280 and set 280 here. Not that it's gonna change much, but because the optimum is 289, I'm gonna wait a little bit. Once you get above the optimum, you start burning more fuel, so it's maybe more beneficial to stay below the optimum than to go above the optimum. That's kind of the way it works. If you're above the optimum and close to the max, the aircraft tends to burn a little bit more fuel for some reason. It's just the ATC page on the ICAS is used when you connect to CPDLC. It's not always the case everywhere. It depends on the areas you fly to. Some areas they don't really have CPDLC, others do, so it depends really. And when you have CPDLC and you're flying in this configuration with the lower display there, like blank, there will be like a box appearing down here with the message sent by ATC, so you wouldn't need to open with the display select panel here. You wouldn't need to open this and then read the message there. The message will be displayed here. There will be like some sort of a box opening here, which is cool. Oh, so we are good in 42, yeah. Yeah, I'm dubious about the fuel. We'll see how that goes. I've never done such a long flight here with the simulator, so I'm not really sure how the fuel is gonna work out. We're supposed to have oh yeah, I enabled actually 5% of contingency. Wow, that's a lot.
1,000 feet to level off.
I've actually I wanted to put only 20 minutes of contingency, and for some reason in the flight planning I've done it too quickly, and 5% came out. 5% out of 13-hour flight is almost, well, 55 minutes of fuel. So that's like almost 6 tons. So that's why there's so much fuel on arrival. So with the contingency being 5%, and then added up also an extra ton just for good measure, it should be alright actually. I hope so anyway. Yeah, no, for these long flights we don't use these 3 or 5% contingencies. It's usually 20 minutes of the flying time, or of the trip fuel if you want, but we wouldn't use oh, there's turbulence there, it's jumping up and down a little bit. We wouldn't use 5%, because 5% for like 13 and a half or 14 hours is a lot, of course. Yeah, I've done the flight planning too quickly. I didn't want to do that really, but it doesn't really matter so much. It's okay, because I'm not really sure how the flight planning and the fuel consumption is going to work out. I would rather be on the safe side. I don't want to divert into India on the way up or something like that, because I'm short of fuel. That would be embarrassing. Right, so the way I understand it is that if you go to menu and options, simulation, auto step climb is enabled, so it will it automatically climb once it shows here a step to flight level 300 at 83 miles. Is it gonna automatically climb to 300 and 82 miles? Is that the way it works? I'm not really sure. See, so 300, 320, 340, 36. Only 236, okay. So should I set already like 360, and then it's gonna climb, or will it change like automatically, like the number up here as well on the MCP? How is it doing it? Because if we stay at 280, I'm not sure, like fuel wise, if we're gonna make it, but okay, I'm trying to read at the same time as well. I've got the step at RVSM there. We'll see, we're gonna get a step in the next 10 minutes. So in real life, the you would basically follow the recommendation there on the FMC. It tells you like step in 60 miles at 2031, so you will kind of follow what the FMC is telling you, you know, more or less when to step, and then ask ATC. Obviously you can't keep climbing by yourself, you need to ask for clearance to climb, but yeah, otherwise you would do it yourself really. The system wouldn't automatically update the climb. you would need to kind of do it manually, so to speak. Yeah, so the flight plan was 360 maximum. Okay, that's good. Man, it's still night time. What is going on? Where's the sun? There's maybe a bit of a glow there. It's taking an awful long time. I know it's winter down there, but it's only 6:30 in the morning, but it's taking an awful long time. Good night, BGL. Have a good rest in the crew rest compartment. Before a long flight like this, you get generally free of any duties about 3 days before and 3 days after. That's the kind of minimum from a planning point of view. You can get a little bit more, but it's rare because like the rosters are like quite compressed usually, so you wouldn't get a week before, that's for sure. Manitex 111, thank you for the follow. So yeah, you would only get maybe 3-4 days maximum, and then 3-4 days after, but no more than that really. At least not in the joint where I am. Yeah, I'm trying to read a little bit about the auto step climb. It says that actually you don't need to set like the highest altitude you want to climb to. Apparently it will change it itself, so maybe we can try to do that. It should do it automatically. Let's have a look. I'll go back to 280 here and we'll see if it changes.
1,000 feet to level off.
We'll see if it changes it or not. For long flight like this, usually between let's say 36 hours to about 48 hours. So about a day and a half to 2 days, depending on like the requirements for the way back. And yeah, I think the day is slowly breaking. It's funny in P3D, either at like dawn or dusk, the colors tend to kind of go a little bit purple, I've noticed, for what it's worth. It's quite good. Today we're gonna fly towards Alice Springs in the center of Australia, and then fly towards Indonesia and Singapore, Malaysia, across the Bay of Bengal towards oh, here is the step climb. Oh, beautiful. It's changed all by itself. I was looking outside and just now it's changed. I thought there was a bit of turbulence when I started the climb, but no, it's okay. Well, that's good to know. Then it's gonna do it by itself. I climb. So all you have to do actually is enable in the options auto climb,
feet to level off.
and leave it, and it's gonna do its job by itself. Oh, that's beautiful. And it does the climb when it reaches the basically the step point here as defined by the FMC. Oh, that's beautiful. Now for flight attendants it's a little bit less, because flight attendants, they consider that they can be tired, it doesn't really matter. So now for flight attendants it's a bit less, fortunately for them. Yeah, it's a simulator option, yeah. So to get the option, you would get into where is it? To the menu, PMDG setup, options, simulation, and then I think it's on page 5. Yeah, auto step climb, yes, and then it does it. There's a bit of turbulence. The aircraft can't maintain the altitude. Whoa, what's going on? 145 knots of wind though. It's really struggling to keep the altitude there. Oh man, 385 knots of ground speed. This is not happening, man. Wow. Oh well. Dan Theo 999, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can probably do it also that way, set like 360 in the MCP, but it seems to work that way as well. You know, the auto step climb is kind of automatic, so because the step there here is independent of the recommended as well, so it's gonna keep climbing. As you can see in the next page, we're gonna be at 300 for a while, and then from this point here, well, between the 2 points there, it's gonna climb to 320, and it's gonna stay there for quite some time. Then further on 3-4, it's gonna stay there again for a while, and then eventually 3-6, and that'll be it. Good question actually, and I'm gonna update the wind. So I'm gonna delete this, I'm gonna delete this, all of them actually. I'm gonna re-enter the levels. So I'm gonna set 300, 320, 340. I'm chatting and stuff, I'm not really thinking too much about the winds, but now I'm gonna put all the levels with all the winds, and that will kind of help define when to step and stuff. So execute that. We've got the correct levels for the flight, and we're gonna request the wind again. It's very strong wind. Now we've got all the winds. For level 300, 159, which at the next waypoint, so the wind is gonna increase, and higher it's even stronger. So, wow. And the descent forecast will load as well. Once again, there's not much wind around destination. 923 with 17 tons. Wow. No, the top of descent. Well, yeah, the top of descent is tomorrow, 9:23 Z. So yeah, I'll definitely be back. That's no problem. I'll be back for the last whatever, for the last couple of hours at least. So yeah, that shouldn't be. Yeah, the fuel, as I said earlier on, is maybe a little bit much, but at the same time, we'll see if we can take a note of it now that we've got all the latest wind data and the FMC is all up to date. We can take a note now to see what's gonna be what it shows now and what it's gonna be when actually get there. I think it's gonna be less, to tell the truth, because the contingency is only showing 6 tons, 6 and 6 of reserve is 12, and the ton extra, that's 13. So at the moment it shows like we are saving 4 tons and a half. I'm sure these 4 tons and a half are gonna go at least. So my take on it is that we're gonna land with maybe 12, 13 tons. We'll see how it goes. I'm curious to see how the flight planning with PFPX and how it's all gonna work out on such a long flight. But the input parameters, like in the flight plan and now in the simulator, are identical. So we'll see how it works. That will be interesting. I've never done it before, so. Hey, the day is rising. Thank you for the follow, the gamer JG9492. Cabin. Oh, sorry about the shearing there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are these seats like facing back? Oh man, I would hate that, facing like having your back turned to yeah, that would not be good. Okay. Morning time, people can be sleeping a little bit. Thank you for the follow, Oscar Yankee. Thank you very much. So yeah, so on a long flight like this, as I explained before, I think there will be 4 of us. 2 guys will do the first part of the flight, so take off, do the first let's say 6 hours, then go for a rest, and then come back for the landing, well, for the descent and the landing. And in the meantime, like the 2 other guys will go pretty much after takeoff, will go in the bunk, in the crew rest compartment, take the first rest for the first 6 hours roughly, and then take over for the second half of the flight, and then would obviously hand over again to the original crew for the descent and landing. So that's pretty much the way it would work. Thank you for the follow, Grim. The default pages on the FMC are like for the pilot flying in the cruise, the cruise page, and for the pilot monitoring, the legs page. These are the kind of default pages. Is there an auto function to kind of follow the track with the track bug? You know, as the route turns left and right, is the track automatically tuned to it, or not? Because at some point, like, the track bug is gonna be totally off. I was just wondering. I don't think the option exists, but oh man, this is gonna be an epic flight. Yeah, here's the sun. Oh man, I can't believe it's already like morning time in Australia. Good God. That's the thing of flying long haul, is that you find yourself in places where, like, back at your home place it's night time or it's daytime, and where you are it's the opposite time of the day, and it's all confusing, man. It's Night, mister. I don't think I'm gonna be long myself, to tell the truth. I'm gonna let this run and see how it goes, and I'll be back fresh and early in about 8-9 hours time or something like that.